Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nuzarina Miti Zainal Abidin. So today I would like to present about photosynthesis and respiration for subject AGR499 crop science. Okay, first, what is respiration? Okay, respiration is the process of converting sugars and starches into energy to a series of biochemical steps. This energy is essential for growth and the building of new tissues in living organisms. Respiration is considered the chemical process opposite of photosynthesis, as it releases energy by using food and oxygen while producing carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Okay, next photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis and respiration are two fundamental biological processes with contrasting roles. Photosynthesis is the process by which food, such as sugar and starches, is produced in plant. It stores energy in sugar molecules using light energy to produce ATP, and it occurs only in cells containing chloroplasts. Additionally, photosynthesis utilizes carbon dioxide and water and only takes place in the presence of light. In contrast, respiration is the process that uses or burns this food to release energy. It breaks down sugar molecules to release energy, producing ATP with the energy released from sugar. Unlike photosynthesis, respiration occurs in all cells, though the rate may vary based on tissue. It also produces carbon dioxide and water as byproducts and takes place continuously, regardless of light availability. Okay, next we move to type of respiration. In this respiration, they have two types, which is first they have aerobic and another one is anaerobic. In aerobic, they have glycolysis, Krebs cycles, and the last one is electron transport chain. Meanwhile, for anaerobic, they have lactic acids for animals, and another one is ethanol for plants. Okay, next I will explain about aerobic. This type of respiration takes place in the mitochondria of all eukaryotic entities. Food molecules are completely oxidized into the carbon dioxide, water, and energy is released in the presence of oxygen. This type of respiration is observed in all the higher organisms and necessitates atmospheric oxygen. Okay, we know that in aerobic respiration have glycolysis, Krebs cycles, and also electron transport chain. So I will explain more about this. Okay, aerobic respiration is a multi-step process that occurs in the presence of oxygen to produce energy. It begins with glycolysis, which takes place in the cytoplasm. During glycolysis, a glucose molecule is split into two 3-carbon compounds called pyruvate, producing 2 NADH and a net gain at 2 ATP. This step does not require oxygen. The second stage is the Krebs cycle, also known as a tricarboxylic acid (TCA) cycle or citric acid cycle, and it occurs in the mitochondrial matrix. In this stage, pyruvate is completely broken down into carbon dioxide and various carbon skeletons, generating 2 ATP, 8 NADH, and 2 FADH molecules. The final stage is the electron transport chain, ETC, which takes place on the inner mitochondrial membranes. This step requires oxygen and involves a series of proteins that transfer electrons from NADH and FADH to oxygen, ultimately forming water. This stage releases a significant amount of energy, producing approximately 32 until 34 ATP molecules. Okay, next I will show you the video that explains about aerobic and anaerobic respiration.
Your body requires energy to do all sorts of different things, such as muscle contractions, transmitting nerve impulses, growth, protein synthesis, active transport, maintaining a constant body temperature. And all of this is required in the form of a chemical called adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP. This is provided by a process called respiration, and this happens inside of animal cells, as well as plant cells, in little organelles called the mitochondria. Glucose is provided by your food and oxygen is provided through breathing, and a whole series of complex chemical reactions take place, but the result is carbon dioxide and water are produced. In that process, energy is released. The word equation for this is dead simple. You just plug in those things that we've mentioned going into and out of the cell. Glucose plus oxygen goes to carbon dioxide and water. And this process is specifically known as aerobic respiration. Now, sometimes under some circumstances, this oxygen is not available in as ready supply as your cells need it. For example, imagine you're doing a sprint and your breathing rate will increase, so you'll be taking deeper breaths, but you're still not going to get as much oxygen as you necessarily need. If that oxygen is not there, these products are not going to be released. This process of aerobic respiration is not going to progress. The alternative is that in the absence of oxygen, glucose will be converted to lactic acid, and in the process, it will release a very small amount of energy. The word equation for this is, again, very simple. Glucose goes to lactic acid, and this process is known as anaerobic respiration. One problem associated with anaerobic respiration is something called oxygen debt. The lactic acid that's being produced is toxic and it must be broken down. This breakdown of lactic acid requires oxygen. And so, after you've done some exercise, you're going to have to repay that oxygen by breathing more deeply. So, you'll take deeper breaths even after you've finished this exercise. Let's look at the two compared side by side. We can obviously see that anaerobic respiration has the advantage that where aerobic respiration needs oxygen, anaerobic respiration can progress in its absence. But the trade-off is there's a very small release of energy by comparison, and while the products of aerobic respiration are easily released, for example, carbon dioxide is easily removed via the lungs, oxygen debt is required to break down lactic acid.
Okay, next, anaerobic respiration. This type of respiration occurs within the cytoplasm and prokaryotic entities such as yeast and bacteria. Here, lesser energy is liberated as a result of incomplete oxidation and food in the absence of oxygen. Ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide are produced during anaerobic respiration. Okay, next, the last slide for this chapter, which is factor affecting respiration. Okay, first type of cell or tissue, temperature, oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose, and the last one is plant injury. So, that's all from me. Thank you for watching.